One sentence. That's all it took. And I said, "Oh no," out loud in my kitchen. Jill and Billy were fighting on a plane to London, and she let something slip. She told him Kane should be the only one handling the complexities inside Chancellor. Complexities. You could watch her hear herself say it. Billy turned around and came home. Now, I've been burned by Genoa City mystery boxes before. So have you. But Josh Griffith went on the record in print before these episodes ever aired and confirmed that Jill is guarding something and that it does real damage when Billy finds it. Somebody wrote this down on purpose. It's coming. My only question is, who's holding the pen when it goes off? Friday, July 24th. Quiet hour on the surface. 4 locations, no explosions, a lot of people talking in cafes, which, I know, we'll get to that. 3 threads. First, Billy comes home from London early. Sally's on the phone with Audra when he walks in, and she hangs up fast, because Sally is sitting on her own secret about Newman Media that she still hasn't told him. He walks straight past it. His head is somewhere else entirely. Second, at the Chancellor Park Cafe, Devon spots Kane and lets him have it, in public. The hires Kane's making, Lily bringing him in, the whole operation. Third, at Society, Ashley Abbott, back on my screen since July 10th, and I've missed her, is having coffee with her daughter. And Abby says the thing I couldn't stop thinking about all weekend. Devon isn't talking to her. He's having mood swings. When he isn't angry, he's withdrawn. This is not like Devon. I've watched this show for a long time. When they give you 3 quiet conversations and no set pieces, they're laying track. And by the end of the hour, every one of those threads is carrying weight. What I came away with was 2 men in 2 different rooms refusing to say the same sentence out loud, while the women around them said it for them. Let's start on that plane. Here's what Jill actually came to Genoa City to do, and this part is confirmed. Griffith spelled it out in an interview before these episodes aired. Jill came to broker peace. She wanted her son and her stepson in the same room without bloodshed. She wanted Billy to finally accept that Kane is going to run the company Billy has wanted since he was old enough to want things. That was the whole mission. Make peace, hand over the keys, go home to London. And she said one word too many. Listen to how Billy frames it when he gets home to Sally. He reaches straight for the Maltese Falcon, an object, something a person hid, on purpose, somewhere in that building. He starts pulling on the old threads between his mother and Catherine Chancellor. He brings up the music box. Sally, bless her, calls it exactly what it looks like from the outside. Billy has found a brand new way to obsess over Chancellor. He has form. We have all seen this movie. But his reasoning is sharper than his mood. His argument is that Jill knows he's the one who'd find it. Nobody else would even know where to start looking. And then he says the line that reframed 30 years of this family for me. He tells Kane his mother has let him stay angry with her for years because staying angry was cheaper than being found out. I paused it. I actually paused it and sat there, because I have watched Jill and Billy tear strips off each other since he was a teenager. Every screaming match, every slammed door, every time she chose Kane and he made her pay for it. And if Billy's right, all of that was cover. She let her son hate her because it kept him at a distance. That's the most interesting thing anyone has said on this show in months. Now, the objection everybody raised online, and it's fair. If something's hidden inside Chancellor, how has nobody tripped over it? That company has been carved up, merged, renamed, and passed around since Catherine died. Jill held it. It got folded in with Winter's. Billy's run pieces of it. It's Lily's now. Here's how I square it. Billy is describing an object. A music box, a paper, something you can hold, tucked away by a woman who was in that building before any of the current owners had a key. That kind of thing survives every merger, because an audit doesn't look for it, and nobody inherits a reason to care. And then we get the ending, which most recaps skated right past. Billy goes to Kane ready to sign anything put in front of him, as long as it gets him inside. And Kane refuses. He will not hand Billy a contract to go treasure hunting. So Billy asks him straight out, "Do you know what she's hiding? Have you known this whole time?" Kane says nothing. That's where they left us. Now the other half of the hour. And I want to slow down here, because the conversation about Devon online has gotten loud. And I think a lot of it has lost the plot. The take I keep seeing is that Devon is randomly furious and has been insufferable for 10 years. I understand it. I've fast-forwarded him myself. But his rage has a cause. It's specific, it's recent, and it's on the record. Mariah kidnapped his son. That's the story we're in. Her breakdown, tied back to everything Ian Ward did to her, escalated into her taking Dominic. On March 26th of this year, she pleaded guilty. The sentence came down as probation and inpatient psychiatric treatment. She did not go to prison, and nobody asked Devon. I keep coming back to that. The worst night of his life went through a courtroom and out the other side, and the child's father was never consulted about any of it. By early April, he was telling Lily she was hardly being punished at all. He petitioned the court to overturn the sentence. He started talking about making sure the judge and the DA lost their next election, and Abby landed somewhere else. Same nightmare, same child, different conclusion. That's the crack in that marriage. And Abby named it out loud on Friday. The two of them split over how they each reacted to Mariah's sentencing. So when Devon corners Kane at that cafe, hiring practices are the excuse. What I'm watching is a man who couldn't protect his son, couldn't get anyone punished for it, and has decided he'll control every other variable within arm's reach. Kane clocks it immediately, which I loved. He tells Devon he's making all this noise to cover something else. He tells him Lily is worried. He asks about the marriage, about the boy. And that's the moment Devon slams the door. Never bring that up again. He tells Kane he's good at fooling people and that everything he touches gets ruined. He says he wants Chancellor folded into Winters and Kane out of town. Kane, completely unbothered, points at the fortune Catherine left him and asks whether $2.5 billion really isn't enough. Devon walks off. And I'll say the uncomfortable part, because leaving it out would be dishonest. This is a man who started an affair with Hillary while she was married to Neil, the father who raised him. Devon's moral high ground has always sat on soft soil. Both of those things are true at the same time, and holding both is what keeps him interesting to me instead of just exhausting. But here's the piece almost every recap I read got wrong. Devon never blew up at Ashley. He turned up at society perfectly pleasant, made small talk about Dom. And when Ashley finally asked how he's actually been since the kidnapping, he admitted it was a nightmare, then swerved straight into how well Dom is doing now. Ashley told him adults need support too. She told him trauma changes you, and the hardest part is admitting out loud that it changed you. And Devon promised her he's there for his wife and his son. He agreed with every single word she said, warmly, sincerely, and he gave her absolutely nothing. I have watched people I love do exactly that at kitchen tables, and Brighton James played it so well it made my chest hurt. That's what it looks like from the outside when someone is going under and has decided to be polite about it. Which brings me to the thing I have wanted from this show for about a decade. A therapist. A real one. Not a therapist who turns out to be somebody's half-sister. Not a therapist who ends up in bed with a Newman. One character whose entire job is a chair, an office, and 45 minutes. Connor got help. Devon has earned it. Frankly, so has Billy. And there's a clock on all of it. Cameron Grimes is back as Mariah at the end of next week. The woman who took his son is coming home, free, and Devon is going to be standing right there when she does. Okay, theories. The second Billy said secret, half the internet said paternity. And I want to walk through the history, because a lot of what's circulating is simply wrong. Jill and John Abbott remarried in 1993. Jill wanted a baby. John said he was too old for it. He went off and had himself a secret vasectomy, and he was too late. She was already pregnant. When he found out, he asked her to end the pregnancy. She refused. She had the boy. So that's Billy's origin. His father tried to prevent him, asked his mother to terminate, came around and loved him. And then, after Jill's affair with Jed Sanders blew the marriage apart, fought her for custody, won, and took the child to New York. Honestly, that's already enough to explain Billy Abbott without adding a single twist. Hold on to that. Theory 1. Victor is Billy's father. Jill did have a fling with Victor before she went back to John. She thought she was about to become the next Mrs. Newman, and he informed her she was a fling. That happened, and it was humiliating, and she never forgot it. John wondered about it too. He knew Jill and Victor had been together that September, but the show already did this arithmetic. decades ago. Billy was born on the 4th of July. The timing never worked, and the story closed that door on purpose. And even if it hadn't, Billy has 2 children with Victoria, Katie and Johnny. Making Victor his father turns their parents into half-siblings. This show would never come back from that. Theory 2. Jack is Billy's father. There's a real thing underneath this one. Jack and Jill did have an affair. The trouble is when. That was the 1980s, during Jill's first marriage to John. Billy was conceived after the 1993 remarriage. Wrong decade entirely. You'd have to invent a whole new encounter to make the dates line up. And here's what should cool everybody off. They already ran this exact story. In 2018, Dina told Abby that Jack wasn't John Abbott's son. It kicked off months of Jack running DNA tests and chasing 3 different candidate fathers. And at one point, he genuinely believed it might be Philip Chancellor. Then it came out that Ashley had engineered the entire thing. She'd manipulated her mother, she'd had the DNA test altered, and she did it as revenge for years of being shoved out under the Blood Abbott clause. Jack was John's son the whole time, months of my life, and they walked every step of it back. So when people tell me this show would never rewrite an Abbott's paternity, they tried 8 years ago, and they couldn't go through with it. That's the strongest reason I have for believing Jill's secret is something else. Something about the company, something about Catherine, something about what Jill did to get where she got. Billy prides himself on being John Abbott's son. That's the load-bearing wall of this character, and this show has already tested whether it's willing to knock a wall like that down. It wasn't. So here's what Friday really was, and this is the part that made me sit up on the sofa. This mystery has a problem that has nothing at all to do with the words on the page. 2 things happened behind the scenes this year. The woman at the center of this story is being played by somebody else. Jess Walton has been Jill for nearly 40 years. She lives in Oregon. She couldn't make the trip to Los Angeles for this arc, so the show borrowed Lauren Koslow from Days of Our Lives and booked her for roughly 5 episodes. 5, for the character who is the secret. And on June 26th, Josh Griffith announced he's leaving, his own decision. As I'm recording this, no successor has been named, and the reporting says he's out by around September. Put those 2 facts side by side and look at what it does. The man who planted this is walking out. The woman who embodies it is a plane ticket away and booked for a handful of shows. And soaps are written and taped months ahead of what we see. So on Friday, I watched Josh Griffith build a lock and hand the key to whoever CBS hires next. That's why Billy is doing all the running. That's why Jill is a voice on a plane and a music box in somebody's memory. This story is being built so it can survive being handed over. And underneath all of it, here's what I actually think I'm watching. Billy is hunting for a reason. A reason his mother held him at arm's length for 30 years. A reason a clever, charming man keeps setting fire to his own life and standing in the smoke looking surprised. Devon is doing the same thing from the opposite side of town, turning down every hand that reaches for him, looking for somebody to hold responsible for a wound that no verdict was ever going to close. Both of them are digging, and I don't think either one wants to find out that the thing buried down there is himself. What this show has right now is 2 men in 2 rooms shouting about the same wound and a whole cast of women watching them do it. So talk to me in the comments, and be specific because I read them. Kane never answered Billy's question. He didn't deny it, he just went quiet. Do you think Kane already knows what Jill is hiding? Or was that a man refusing to be dragged into somebody else's obsession? Pick one and tell me why. And if you think this has nothing to do with paternity at all, that's the theory I want most. Because after what they put us through with Jack in 2018, I suspect you're right. Mariah comes home at the end of next week. Devon has no idea what's about to walk through that door. I'll see you then.